Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, yesterday the acting president signed an executive order. VADES is something we're going to get used to, voluntary assets and income declaration scheme. And it's all about something, it's almost like a tax holiday, but not quite. And let me quickly introduce our guest this morning, Mrs. Morenike Babintin Ashaye, Chartered Accountant, Tax Specialist, Educator, Chairman, Accounting, Education and Research Services. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it sounds exciting at first blanch. It seems, as I said, almost like a tax holiday, but it isn't quite. It isn't quite a tax holiday. The voluntary assets and income declaration form, it says it all. Come forward voluntarily and we'll cut you some slack. Seems to be what government is saying, right?
Yeah. Actually, I think it's a good idea. And you remember last year, the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service initiated a program on tax waivers, you know, especially for, you know, small, medium enterprises. And that was actually to make sure that all companies are in the tax net.
Yes. Because,
you see, the problem we have all over the world, not Nigeria alone, is that people just see tax as a punishment. You know, they don't see tax as their own contribution towards the development of the country. And that is a mistake everybody is making. You know, when you are even within your household, whenever you want to do something that is common, the head of the family will say, you bring this, you bring that, you put the resources together, and you are able to achieve. That is the way I would like the society to see taxation. My contribution towards the development of my country. Indeed. And you should be proud.
But I think it has gone. It has gone both ways over the decades. That is to say, some Nigerians complain, especially they complain that, look, paying tax, everybody knows the one thing that is certain in life, apart from death, is also taxes.
Exactly.
But what are they doing with the taxes has been the excuse of a lot of Nigerians to get discouraged because they see profligacy, waste, and all of that. And so, unfortunately, they've slipped into the bad habit of just keeping quiet and not paying unless they are forced to pay. Now, that is what has to change, right? It
has to change. You see, what the society, what people are saying is that if government says, I'm a tax evader, then government is a service evader.
Yes.
By not providing services.
Yes.
So both people, two arms are guilty. If you don't provide the service you are supposed to provide for the people, it's an encouragement for them to evade taxes. Because they will say, government is also a service evader.
Exactly. So this has been the challenge through the ages.
It's a challenge for the government as well. Because people will want to see government perform. And when there is no transparency, when there is no accountability, tax evasion will be on the high rate. Because Indeed. People will be questioning, why do I have to pay?
Why do I pay?
What are they using
I don't get any services.
Exactly.
Now, why this is important, when I just look at other tax jurisdictions, immediately, and there must be maybe a number of other instances, but America in particular comes to mind, where tax evasion is one of the worst crimes. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how important you are, how rich you are. We constantly see these stories of the authorities moving in on people who are owing taxes, and they hound them to the ground. In fact, it's something of a, as we perceive it locally, that it's a disgraceful thing to be hounded for not paying your tax.
Actually, if you don't pay your taxes, you are the enemy of the society.
But that's not the way it's seen here.
No, we know. But over the years, you see, I just want us to see that taxes are, payment of taxes has actually been part of the people. right from the onset, traditionally, because you pay levies, even at home, in your community, you pay. So it's been part of the people. But like I said, what do you do with the money? How fairly are you distributing and are you allocating and distributing these resources? Those are things that come up. If I have to pay my children's school fees, I have to go to the hospital, pay for services, I have to do so many things, paying for services. The question is, what is government doing? Why do I need to support the government? So, but for me, if you don't pay your taxes, you are an enemy of the society, because you find that collection of those resources will help everybody. And like we all ply on good road. You look at Lagos State now.
Yes.
And they are working, the government is working very hard. And you remember during Fashola's regime, communities, market women were actually collecting money on behalf of government and taking it to Internal Revenue Service. So, you know, when you work for the people, people will appreciate you. You don't need to give them amnesty before they turn in their own resources.
Now, this amnesty, to be clear, we're using the word amnesty, and it is indeed amnesty, but it's not as if I come forward now upon this encouragement, all my obligations of the past are now were wiped out and I can start a clean slate from here. It's not quite as simple as that. It's that government will not penalize me or whatever, but I will still have to pay that which I owe, but I won't be penalized anymore. Is that right?
Yeah, that is it, you know, because as it is now, when you declare your income and maybe you are supposed to have paid 20 million, government says, okay, you can have maybe about 3 years or so to pay the 20 million. But the penalties, the interest, which could have been even as much as the 20 million, we are going to forgo that.
Okay.
So it's quite a relief.
And so, and this is not just about companies, it's about citizens as well.
Citizens,
it's everybody.
It's everybody. You are now free within this window to come out, declare your asset, declare your income, and, you know, once everything is calculated, whatever that liability, you even have the right to request for instrumental payment.
Okay.
You know, over a period of 3 years or so.
Now, this will be affecting, as I said, it's not just companies. By the way, I just noticed, looking at articles on the matter, it is hoped that this will help raise something in the region of 282 billion from VAT, maybe 277 billion from, you know, customs, 902 billion from company tax. But it is the individual that I'm concerned, because he's not left out of the net. Now, one of the problems is probably that we have very poor records. If people don't come forward voluntarily, it looks as if government is hampered from being able to pinpoint those who are owing the state in taxation and action it accordingly. So this is now another idea, another initiative. Say, okay, come forward voluntarily.
I think our problem with taxation, and which is the problem with the Constitution, is that we are not together.
Okay.
You know, the federal government is separate, the state is separate, the local government is separate. It's not going to help us. But if we have integrated services for the people, as far as taxation is concerned, there should be a one-stop shop for taxation. Whether you are paying local government fees, you are paying state, you are paying federal, you know, so the data can be well connected. You will see some people that, some companies, what the returns they will prepare for federal government is going to be different from what they will prepare for the state.
Is that legal?
It's not. Of course, it's not legal. But like that's why they say tax evasion. Everybody is planning, thinking, what can I do to reduce my liability or something like that? You know, but if we have an integrated office where federal, state, local is there, the data you are talking about, you know, will be easily assessed.
Okay.
Because if you have services to obtain from the local government and you have to pay anything, it's key into the, for the state, everything is key. So there is no way you can have a different figure for the state and have a different figure for federal. So I will advise that government must come together, irrespective of the constitution's you know, division, that the state is on it. So that doesn't mean when this money is collected, it will not go to the proper channel.
Yes, yes.
It will. But at least if they are together, information will be flowing.
But I wonder what effect this will have on a complaint one has heard, a lot of people have heard it, that taxations are not always what the people who are paying them see as fair. I'm talking about VAT, for example. Some tax jurisdictions have said, you know what, we generate much more value-added tax than my neighbor, for instance. But the arrangement is such that that doesn't seem to matter. It all gets spread, it gets spread around evenly. And this is unfair. If we generate it, we should be able to get the value and maybe be able to do more. All of this are part of the problems we have with taxation, isn't it?
It is, and it's very unfair. You know, VAT is a consumption tax, and it should belong to the state where that goods is consumed. I don't, you know, this is what we are talking about, the power of the federal government, thinking that, okay, under the constitution, taxation is under my control, which, you know, is not fair to the state. Whether you are a company, you are an individual, as long as you consume anything in that state, it should go directly to the state. Exactly. Because these states are the hosts for these companies and individuals. And they do a lot of things. Look at Lagos State, for example. You know, Lagos State has, you know, a lot of companies here. And they have to service these companies. They have to service these individuals that are living in Lagos. But if you now say the money, the consumption tax, which is VAT, must now be shared among 36 states, it's very unfair. Because
but it is the law allows it. But that is what the federal government is working with, as you said, the constitution.
That is what the federal government is working with, and that's the problem with our constitution. That's why we are saying we need to restructure resources. Taxation is part of the aspect of restructuring that we need. Consumption tax should be paid to the government, or it should be paid to the state where anything is consumed. It should not be shared at all.
But you know, these are some of those issues. But what we have now is we have this almost what is called a sort of a something Thursday, a tax Thursday or whatever. But the whole idea is to now sensitize us to very much the kind of things you've been saying, where we see tax as an obligation and a responsibility, not to be dodged. But for those who have done so in the past, come forward now. All your sins will be forgiven. There will be no interest. There will be no prosecution.
There will be no penalty.
And no penalty. So from now on, I just hope those who have been offending will be encouraged by this to come out in the absence of any stick, as it were. Because government knows these people who have been defaulting, but they haven't prosecuted them. I mean, it's like they're hiding in plain sight.
That is why I'm going to advise government. Even though you have given this amnesty, don't just wait and expect people to come. Those people that you know, write to them. Politely.
Whatever.
You know, write to them. And
in other words,
they will know that you know.
We see
you.
We see you.
So we are asking you to please come forward. So don't just use these newspapers or, you know, the executive order and say, oh, you are waiting.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. One moment, please. Mazi Okorafor, good morning. Are you up to date on your tax?
Yes, so, good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Yes, I pay my time when I have my receipt, yes.
Okay.
If you can give me your email after this program, I'll forward the copy to you to show you evidence of
okay. But what do you think of the idea, the executive order of the vice president?
The tax debate that you see, there's no how you can stop people not evade tax. Reason, because Nigerians have come to a stage that they want any money they pay, even if it's kobo or shishi, the government must surely make use of it for them to see. A situation whereby you come to a state or a local government, people pay their taxes. They deduct people's taxes from their salaries. Now, when you deduct this money, now, the people there that are paying it, for example, you have not made use of it. You go to schools, public schools, there are no seats, no sitting aids in the schools. How do you encourage them that we are removing their taxes every month from their salary? This is the problem Nigeria is facing. Now, you ask a typical trader in Nigeria, he's not ready to pay his tax because he feels that it's his own sweat and it's something that government is not even helping him by reducing the exchange rate to make it very low for them so that they will buy goods. They buy things at expensive rate. You want them to come and say, see, come back to collect that. These are even the roadside traders who are selling things. They also have the same problem. They stay under the sun. And the same government, they stay under the sun. You will not even come and do shade for them to stay and take shelter and sell their things there. You say you are collecting all these 100 naira taxes from the table. These are the problems. The government collect money, make use of it so that the downtrodden who are just petitioners will benefit. That problem must have a blessed day in Lagos.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling. That's precisely the problem. You know, Mrs. Ashaye started off with that. Both sides have their obligations. You, as the citizen, must pay. Government must deliver on the services. And this has not been the case. The government part of the equation, in addition to the citizenry part of the equation, has been what it has been for ages. In fact, the thinking is that, thank God for pay as you earn. That has removed a lot of people. Because if people were left to come and do the right thing, you can imagine the situation
they
we would have.
They will be asking the same question: what is government doing? What is government doing? I'm going to plead with Nigerians.
It's a bit like NEPA.
Yes.
They give you, you pay your bill, you don't get light.
Exactly. I'm going to plead with Nigerians. Since the government is giving tax amnesty, let us give government service amnesty.
Okay.
So let us forgive them for not providing services. So let us all start on clean plates.
Oh dear, spoken as a true taxation professional and expert.
Let us all be on a clean plate now, and then we'll be watching them. Even over the years, we also have been, we have our own fault.
Sure.
Yeah, we have not been watching our government. We've not been monitoring them. We've not been asking questions. So these are things that as taxpayers we must do.
Okay, let me take Ishak calling in from Jos. Good morning, sir. Oh, you're breaking the momentum, Mr. Ishak.
Good morning, Mr. Ori, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
I'm Ishak Kaiwa Imam.
We know. Okay.
Mr. Ori, the tax evasion policy signed by the acting president yesterday is a welcome development. Because we need to diversify our economy and concentrate on income tax. We have several other countries that depend solely on tax to run the affairs of their country. However, I think the tax, government should do it in such a way where tax, there will not be duplication. State should generate, state will charge, and federal government will charge. If there's duplication or multiple taxation, it will discourage even citizens from paying tax. And again, I think people should see the benefit of their tax, what they are being paid for. You know, people in Lagos have no excuse not to pay tax because they are seeing development. It's obvious. Even those of us that are now living in Lagos, we know we always visit Lagos. We see development in Lagos. So people in Lagos have no reason not to pay tax. I think I want to advise federal government to encourage state and charge tax. State to charge tax and send some certain percentage to federal government instead of federal government charging and deducting tax from. It's just like the madam in the studio said. We have several companies in Lagos. For instance, if federal government charges tax on behalf of Lagos State, the benefit will go to other states that does not even host such companies. So that is my take.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate it. Now, it's not just that the presidency is just being, is just organizing its house properly. It's like we're in dire straits. We're in desperate need of revenue. Exactly. Oil that we have depended on, there's a problem now. The budget benchmark is $45 per barrel, and I think on the international rate now it's hovering anywhere between 40 and 47. So there is a need. It's like this is about surviving, because if we don't get this, then we begin to, go back into lean resources, and we can only get. And
taxes are the surest means of revenue for government. If they do their job, they do their job very well. If people are happy, it's the surest income for the government. The last speaker was talking about taxes here and there, multiple taxation.
Government, businesses have complained about that.
Exactly. A lot of countries now are thinking about single rate. And when I was coming, we did, myself and my assistant, we did a quick calculation.
Sure.
You see, here, the tax rate is based on, of course, the government will give you certain allowances. Those allowances, first of all, may not actually meet your expenses. That's one area Nigerians may be feeling, somehow odd to want to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Now you find an average person, you pay school fees, maybe about 1.2 million every year. And government is giving you 200,000.
Yes.
Plus 20% of your gross income. Not thinking that even though you may not have that 1.2 million, you might have borrowed from Mr. A, Mr. B, just to make sure that your child is in school. So when you look at all those inequities in the system, because I will want a situation whereby government will say, declare your income. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying voluntary declaration of income as well, declare your expenses, your true expenses, because that is the only way government can know how the people are actually living.
Okay, but if government really wanted to wanted it, they could do a survey on this and find it out, I imagine. But as you said, maybe they give you a chance to declare your expenditures as well.
You should declare your expenses.
Okay, but let me bring in Daniel from Ifo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Please go ahead.
In fact, Madam has cleared so many things. Because he made me... Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Speak up, please.
Yes, Madam has cleared so many things, especially what I have in mind.
Okay.
When this issue of asset declaration or amnesty of the thing came up. Because we only want us to declare income. Government is not interested in how we live our life. The kind of expenses that we run through daily, monthly, yearly, they are not interested. So they just want to see how bulk your income is and see how they will slash whatever percentage of cake they want to slash. It's not going to work. And as Madam has already said, that perhaps we give the government an amnesty too. Because I for one, I know how much I pay as tax in a year. It runs up to $1 million. But come to Ifo. Ifo in Ogun State there. In fact, it's very, very appalling. You close your eyes for Ogun State government. And I went to Ifo because I have a building there. I left Lagos with the intention that all my tax should be directed to Ogun State, and I did that. I directed all my this thing to Ogun State because I want Ogun State to develop. But honestly, we are not getting anything. Look at schools in Ogun State, everything. In fact, Nigerians are angry. If they want Nigeria to be paying tax, government at all state level, because if we continue to say federal government is cheating, the one that is going directly to the state, what are they using it for? Okay. Ifo, Ogun State is very close to Lagos State. We can see all what Lagos State is doing, even on federal road. Lagos-Ibadan, Lagos-Abeokuta road is the second busiest road apart from Lagos-Ibadan. Go and see from Toll Gate down to Ifo. You will cry for the residents of Ogun State. It's very, very appalling and it's very shame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Appreciate your call. And this is a real eyewitness account illustration of what you have already said.
Exactly. But let us pardon, let us forgive.
Okay, because government itself requires
we need to forgive them.
Services amnesty.
Yes, service amnesty.
Yes.
Let us forgive them. And we hope that as from now on, they will start providing services.
Okay.
They will be transparent. They will account for the services or for the money.
Yes.
So if they can do that, then
it gets hunky-dory.
Yes.
Okay, stay with us. We'll go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere, please. Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the subject of taxation, VAIDS, V-A-I-D-S, and well, it concerns just about everybody, whether a corporate person or a real flesh and blood person. The acting president, signed an executive order backing this up, and I quote, "In exchange for full and honest declaration, tax evaders will receive immunity from prosecution, forgiveness of penalty and interest that is due upon unpaid taxes. They will also get a full assurance that all information provided will be confidential. And additionally, participants in the scheme will not be selected for audit investigation for the period." The Vice President also said that they will commence a nationwide sensitization project on the scheme and tax. Now, yes, that is the Tax Thursday thing. Now, voluntary assets and income declaration scheme. I'm reminded, it's just the biggest one in recent memory. The Senate President Bukola Saraki has just come out of the whole law courts thing. I think no case submission and all of that. But it comes back to what assets are we declaring? How does government know if those declarations are as they should be? Take, for instance, Senator Saraki, if the proposal, the charge, which has now been thrown out, if that was what we were working with, we'd get so much. But now we don't even know what to get because all those things that were, they said, false declaration or whatever. Touch on those areas, if you will. The whole matter about asset declaration.
Actually, on individual tax form.
Can I just take Mr. Akala from Ibadan, and then I'll come back to you. Good morning, Mr. Akala. I'm afraid you're going to have to continue because Mr. Akala is not ready yet. As you were saying. On
the personal income tax form, government has provided areas where you can declare your assets and you can declare your income. Usually you find that on the assets that you have, a lot of people collect rent, but they will never allow the tenant to remove any tax and pay over to government. They will never allow. So from that, it's easy for government to be able to know who and who should pay, withholding tax, and maybe they have not paid. It will make it easier for government to actually penetrate. Because usually when you want to pay your rent, you dare not deduct any tax from that rent.
Yes.
The landlord will tell you, you can go to Abuja and rent
go to Inland Revenue and rent your house from there.
And rent your house from that. But my concern with the asset declaration, all public officers must declare their assets.
Yes, by law.
Which they have done at the Code of Conduct Bureau office. Now, I think this amnesty, for it to actually be complete and for it to actually encourage our politicians to come and declare their assets, there must be provision there that the asset they have declared, if it is different from the one that they declared at the Code of Conduct Bureau, they will not be prosecuted. That will give them
okay, that's an important point.
A good playing ground for them to come out. If not, if they declare those assets,
yes,
and they compare it with maybe the Code of Conduct now, you know, wake up and say, yes, you declared 200 million, whereas you were telling us it's 100 million. They now go and prosecute them. That's not fair enough. Well, so if there's going to be amnesty, let the government, let it be total.
And that's a problem right there, because
yes,
it comes on to this matter of transparency, ethical behavior, accountability.
Yes,
but I hear what you're saying, because what you've just stated, the Code of Conduct Bureau and what has been declared there, that could be something of a stumbling block.
It will be. It will be, because of course in their head they will know that, oh, this is what I have declared. And if I'm now filing my personal income tax and I declare something else, the Code of Conduct can pick that up. And that's another issue. So I think for the amnesty to be total, the government should be should give that waiver to public officers.
Okay. Ugochukwu in Ghana, good morning.
Yeah. Our brother, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah. I really thank you people for what you people are doing, because you're a great man, in fact. You people are trying. About the law that Osibanjo, executive law that they have signed right now about the tax. It's quite unfortunate. This tax now will go direct to the poverty. It will not go to the rich. They know themselves.
The tax will go to... You said the tax will go to...
The tax now will go to the poverty. It will not go direct to the rich.
Okay. Okay.
Come again?
You say this is going to affect poor men more than the rich.
Yeah. Okay. It is going to affect poor men more than the rich. And already the poor... Yeah. And already now, poor men are suffering. Now, particularly, poor men are suffering. And everyone knows that. And then now, you are going to tax them again. Not the rich. Not the people that are packing our bill in Abuja.
Yeah, but Ugo, everybody has to pay tax, right? Everybody.
Yeah, everyone has to pay tax, but the government has to give you. Yes, everyone has to pay tax, but at least would you get something from the government before you pay tax? Is it if you didn't get anything from the government, then you will pay them tax? It's unfair. Those that are getting from the government, they are the people that are supposed to pay for the tax. Because that's the reason why I'm telling you that the people that are going to suffer now with poverty, they are the people that are going to suffer, not the rich.
All right, then.
Do you understand?
Okay. I thank you for calling in.
Let him do it between Hausa, Yoruba, because if you take now, plate number, nothing, they are not using plate number, and the motorcycle. Do you understand? How many times have you seen policemen arrest them? But to come to our east, even if you have badge and you didn't have a plate number, police will arrest you. Police will harass you. Uncle Yore, police, we are not one.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. And that is why this whole exercise, it's going to run for almost a year. It's been agreed that every Thursday starting from when the vice president was speaking, well, it's yesterday, for the next 1 year, it will be declared a tax Thursday in order to sensitize and explain the very matters that Ugochukwu seems to be concerned about.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure that can't be the intention, that the poor will feel the weight of this much more. In fact, I think maybe it's because Mr. Ugo doesn't really understand the issue. What he's saying can hardly be right. Or do you think there are instances where, indeed, what he is saying is applies?
Sorry. Oh my God.
Last minute. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, Mr. Ugochukwu is right of his concern, and we have said it earlier that government, as much as possible, should perform so that people can have that encouragement to pay taxes.
Ugo's point was that this is going to be on the poor and not so wealthy much more than the wealthy. That's his point.
I don't think so. I don't want to believe that, because the way the whole thing is like having, a level playground for everybody.
That's what it should be.
So, and that is what it's going to be. And besides, you have a situation that everybody, taxation is well developed.
Yes.
In such a way that even if you don't have any taxable income, you will only pay minimum tax.
But,
so it's not,
but as a citizen, you must
as
pay
a citizen,
something,
no
matter how little.
But I want to encourage Ugo, because when we say government should function, government cannot function without money. And like I said earlier, the easiest money is taxes.
When you say taxation is very well developed and all of that, what Nigerians are saying now, the law is also very well developed. But we see how justice is administered. We all see it. And so people are saying that, why are you saying taxation is going to be any different from this? There are complaints about justice, that in Nigeria, the same laws, it applies to different citizens in different ways. So this is the problem that has come up now with taxation that Ugochukwu in Ghana was alluding to. But let me bring in Ade, in case you wanted to respond to that, please hold the thought. But let me bring in Ade in Lagos Island. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Just on a nutshell, the other caller has said most of it. The ordinary masses on the street will be the ones to suffer the most.
Oh, you think?
As it is now, I'm a civil servant. I don't even know how much somebody is taking away from me as tax. And yet they are paying me 12,000 plus. And they take a lot of tax from me. You understand? They are paying 12,000 as minimum wage. Yet they are taking a lot and lot of tax from us. We don't even know where it is. Now, with this implementation of new tax laws, and also declaration of assets, the lawyers and the judges will be fed by the so-called politicians, and they will have enough to buy their way through. That's what I want to let you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, these are things, he's saying that the Nigerian thing will happen again. Those that need to pay most and are able to pay most will actually not pay. Then it's going to be little Frank Olise's common man that is going to get the brunt of all of this.
There's a Yoruba saying that says that
okay.
That
We've got to forget the past.
We have to forget the past and
turn
move
over
on.
A fresh sheet.
Yes, we have to move on. The problem with us in Nigeria is we keep remembering things that happened 100 years ago.
Because they hurt us so badly.
It hurts us,
and we're still in trauma.
It hurts us so badly. But we must put a stop to it. If government is coming with tax amnesty,
yes,
and we are also ready to give them service amnesty,
yes,
we will,
if government is penitent,
yes,
then why forgive?
Yeah, we should also
and
forgive
take them at their word.
Yes, and be watching them.
They will reshape.
And be monitoring them, be checkmating them,
okay,
be telling them what we want.
In other words, become active.
We have to be active citizens, because it is our money that the government is using. There is no leader in this whole world will bring his or her money to run government.
Okay, Yakub, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
And then thank you for this very particular topic that you bring on this morning. See, Shifiori, the truth must be said here. I can tell you, Shifiori, today, the people that really pay tax is ordinary citizens of this country, especially the yalojas, the shop owner in the street. Shifiori, I want to know, now that the acting president has signed this law now, Shifiori.
Well, it's an executive order.
Executive order, Shifiori, so to say. Now, do you know that the people that host shop in the street, they are paying for television, they are paying for radio, they are paying for extension, they are paying for lockup, they are paying all such of manner of money. Now that this one of the signing to law now, yes. I don't go to eradicate source. That is point number one. Number two, Shifiori, do you know all these rich people, they are the one that does not pay tax. And then this executive bill that signed to the law now, the last caller said something very, very unique. That it is going to affect ordinary citizens of this country, not the rich man, not the politician. Usually to buttress the point of somebody calling from Ogun State. I can tell you, you can go from Tollgate down to Papa. Usually you would not like to go down through the gate. Okay, the taxes that the people living in that artist are paying to Ogun State, what are they using that money for? Now they will still ask them to pay another tax. Are you telling me the people will willingly to pay such? When you are traveling from Tollgate down to Papa, Shifiori, you would not like to go there. People would like to have somebody like Governor Ambode as their governor, because it is an active government in this state that we find ourselves.
Yeah, Yakub,
yeah?
But Yakub, what the vice president seemed to be initiating as an idea was all that, let it be in the past. It's not going to be business as usual.
Okay.
As far as taxation is concerned, we have to turn over a new leaf. And it's going to take us 1 year to sensitize people, resolve all these questions that you are bringing up satisfactorily so people can pay.
Shifiori, let me say this. You see, if you want Nigerian citizens to pay tax, Nigeria is the easiest people to govern in the world. I can tell you that. This now, executive bill that they signed to the law, let them work between now to that time. Let Nigerian citizens see that the one that they already paid before, it has been utilized for them to see when they started to asking them to pay another taxes. I can tell you they will willingly to pay that taxes. But if nothing done to that time, I can tell you, me, I will not pay.
Okay.
God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think what he is saying is that government should give total amnesty. Maybe like government should close its eyes and say, okay, anything from
in the past.
In the past,
yes.
we forget.
We forget.
But it's not possible because government needs money. I can understand his feelings, but at the same time, that fear that those who are rich will not pay taxes, I want him to drop it. And that is why I said earlier that government should not wait for people to come forward.
Yes.
Those people that you know, the high net worth people, the government should write to them. When I was Ogun State Internal Revenue Service chairman, we selected all the high net worth people in Ogun State, including our governor, and we served everybody. You know, while Governor Amosun was saying that, oh, I knew it was Otumba Governor Gbenga Daniel that said they should send a letter, you know, that letter to him. Governor also got his own. So, you know, what is important is for our tax inspectors to have that freedom to be able to work. As the acting president has declared this tax amnesty, what I expect government to do, right from the president, his household, we should be seeing them reporting that the president has declared, you know, he has filled his asset declaration form, he has paid so much additional tax, he has been exempted from penalty, and so the acting president, you know, has also done, all the ministers, you know, those are things that we encourage Nigerians.
Okay, so, you know, this subject is just grabbing everybody. We just lost Alhaji Ashiru calling in from Abidjan. See if you can try again, Alhaji Ashiru in Abidjan, to hear what your perspective is going to be. Also, multiple taxations, all sorts of government. Lagos State, for example, everybody is, you know, commending Lagos State and all of that. But, you know, they do go about their taxes. I remember last week I went to renew my vehicle license, and there was an extra charge in there. And I said, hang on, what's this? They said, that's for your car radio. I said, my car radio? But radio licensing, something. How about the one at home? He says, that one, the local government will charge you for that one. But this one you're listening on the road, we have put our own 5,000 in there. You see, people... sorry, not 5,000. That was 10 times too much. 500. Okay. You know, 500. But these are the kind of things. Every little drop adds to the taxation basket, and the citizenry feels oppressed. So, whereas there has to be tax reform, if we could just get a single figure that people
a lot of countries are advocating single tax rate because it's better. Immediately you are even doing any business transaction, you have in your head how much tax you're going to pay. You know, a lot of
But it differs for us here, right? If you're a company, it's different. If it's a big company, it's different. If it's a small company, it's...
For me, I believe that single tax rate will go a long way for both the government and the people. Like I told you, when we were coming, I was doing some calculation with my assistant, and we said, okay, if you earn 1.2 million a year, and then you are giving 200,000 plus 20%, if it's a single tax rate of 10%, you only be paying 76,000. But if you go through all the rudiments of the first 7%, the first 11%, the next one 15, the next one 19, and so on, you will pay 78,000. So there's just a difference of 2,000, you know. So if government is adopting the single tax rate, there's not much difference between the single tax rate and all the categories of rates. So single tax rate for individuals can be 10%. For companies can be, you know, for small companies can be 15%. For big companies can be 20%.
Okay.
You know, because you don't want to take too much from the people, because they still go out there and pay VAT.
Exactly.
And they still do a lot of things. So in between the time that government will be able to fulfill all the service promises, you know, the single tax rate and at lower rate would do justice.
Okay.
For everybody.
Alaja Olajumoke calling in from near Badagry. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Yori, Uncle Yori.
Please go ahead, ma'am. Thank you for calling in.
Please, if government is working, citizens are ready to pay their taxes. I can remember when Fashola, the first term of Mr. Fashola, I voluntarily paid that tax without being pushed by anybody. But if you go to that Ogun State that people are mentioning now, it is, in fact, you cannot even talk of it. See it from Aton to Agbara here. That road is off road, totally off. You will pity the people that are living there. The trailer are falling on the cars, almost everything. People are dying on that road, and that Ogun State government are not doing anything. That, in fact, Ogun State is a world state. I don't know what I can compare it. Talk less when you are going from Agbara to Ogun State. You cannot imagine you spend close to 6 hours before you reach that Agbara, you reach Ogun State. Imagine when governments are working, people are ready to pay. Citizens are ready to pay when the work is being done by the government. Please, let us see what our government are doing. Then we are ready to pay. But if you are not paying, if you are not doing anything, you cannot. We people, we are annoying now. We are annoyed. You see the road. Everybody are very annoyed. When you are going out, in fact, you just first of all think of where you are going to before you reach where you are going. Please.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much, Alaja Olajumake. Really appreciate your call. We've completely run out of time. This point you made has been, addressed, on this program. I think the Vice President has not just done a wake-up call to Nigerians. He's also done a wake-up call to government and governance. Because the point has been made that government itself requires a service amnesty, whereas we are taking this taxation amnesty. So maybe every Thursday, in the next 1 year, when we keep looking at this, we will also reminded, and we'll be able to do a sort of an incremental report as to how well government is doing with that which we have paid. Lagos State government, has gotten a lot of kudos from people. You go around, you see a sign somewhere, your tax is working, or taxpayers' money is working, that kind of a thing.
It depends actually on how the local government in most of these states are being treated.
Yeah.
If Lagos State is treating its own local government very well, performance will show.
Indeed.
But where a state governor will think that local government is not important, wants to do everything by itself, that's where there are problems.
Okay.
So the issue of local government administration is another important area the federal government has to address, because most local governments, once they pay salaries, they don't have anything. And unfortunately, these areas that people are talking about, you know, very close to you, are for the local government, but they don't have the resources.
Well, we're going to have to leave it here. Thank you very much. We've hardly scratched the surface because it concerns money, and money concerns everybody, and you can see the calls that have been coming in. So I want to thank you very much, Mrs. Morenike Babintina Ashaye, Chartered Accountant, Tax Specialist, Educator, Chairman, Accounting, Education and Research Services. Thank you very much for your insight. We now have the next 1 year to, as it were, monitor this and how well it is going, and hoping that government will really take advantage of their own service amnesty, as we are also taking advantage, hopefully, of the taxation amnesty.
Thank you very much. I just don't want people to sit back. We have given money to the government to use for us.
Monitor it.
We must monitor. Okay. We must make sure we get what we want.
Okay, that's our program. I am Iyori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.